Okay, pine firewood. Can you burn it or not? That's a good question. It's pretty complicated. It's not as simple as that. So we're going to talk about pine. And it's a softwood tree, obviously, from the start. Here's a bunch of pine I have here. Now, what you'll hear is that you can't burn pine because it builds up creosote in your chimney. And creosote is when the gases haven't burned properly and builds up in your chimney from those gases that aren't burnt. So what happens is that debris will build up in the chimney and then you'll have a chimney fire after. So the problem why you can't burn it is because the stove doesn't get hot enough with softwood to burn through the gases, right? Because a wood stove has a secondary burn in it. It's not just the fire that's there. What happens is before it goes out the chimney, the way some of them are designed, some of them anyway, is that they have an area where there's a secondary burn of all the gases inside the wood stove. So the stove usually doesn't get hot enough so that you can burn off those gases. So one thing about pine, you can actually use it, but also too, when you don't want that, if you don't want to have that creosote building up, then you have to make sure the wood is extremely dry. That's what you're going to need to do. That's the most important thing. So pine is usually used for kindling. It's better for that, but in terms of heat, its heat value is low. Now what it does is it burns really hot to begin with, but then it burns quickly, right? So does it produce heat? Yes, it does, but it's just too much work when you keep having to load your stove. What you're going to want to do with it is chop it up for kindling, okay? You don't necessarily want it for your heat, for your firewood, if you can get access to hardwood. But here's something that a lot of people don't know. Once you get to a certain latitude, going north, right, it starts to get, colder, the summers are shorter. Those areas, as you go further north, there's less and less hardwood trees, right? Even if there's hardwood trees, they tend to be the softer hardwood trees in some regions, and then you'll have a mix. But then the further you keep going north is the less hardwood trees you will have. And then after that, it's just all pine, all spruce, stuff like that, larch. There's no hardwood anymore. It happens with altitude too. Once you get into the mountain regions, there's no more hardwood trees. When you think about it, you look at the mountains, you look at the ski hills and everything, right? They're all covered in pine trees, right? Absolutely no hard trees up there. You never see any tree up in the mountains that has leaves on it, right? Just strictly pine up there. So in those regions, their only option is to burn pine, right? There's no way around it. So that's what they have to do. So when anybody tells you, yeah, you can't burn pine, there's a reason why you can't burn it, but it still is usable in the end. And even when you're starting your fire, or even when you have your stove going and it's down to hot coals and you want to get it going again, hardwood does burn and give you good heat, but hardwood doesn't light very well. Also, going back to what I was saying, is using the hardwood the softwood as kindling, you can still use it a little bit throughout your burn. So now when you have the coals, if you want to get that hardwood going again and get the heat going, you can just put a little bit softwood inside there, and then you can use that, and then you can put the hardwood on top of that, and then you can use that softwood in there to help get the hardwood going. So I hope that answers your questions. So like, comment, subscribe, share, all that stuff, and thanks for watching.